Look, there's a reason that a white dude dressed just like you can walk into a bank and get a loan. You can't even spend $100. Ew, man. And you need to start acting like you better than other niggas. You know, start treating you better than other niggas.
Yo, first of all, the soundtrack was everything in tonight's episode. Was denying the whole entire episode that he had the knockoff FUBU. In Ern's defense, he might not have even known that they made knockoffs of clothes, you know? He was like, yo, it's a FUBU. I know FUBU's cool. I want to wear one. He didn't know that there was a seal of approval patch and a made in China sewed into the back that was going to decide whether he was complimented on the shirt or completely insulted by the shirt. I love the fact that they chose to make the shirt so loud, you know? And FUBU was no joke. FUBU was everything. They made it so loud, you know, so the shirt stood out. The first time we saw it on the hanger in the thrift store, and then when we saw him get hyped to put it on, it was just, you know, your attention was drawn in to the t-shirt the whole time. Alfred, he talked his way out of, first of all, he sold that kid the calculator and then he stole it back from him. So he can sell it again, I'm sure. But it was interesting that he talked himself out of a bad situation in the principal's office, which was very impressive. And he was a loner in the episode. He wasn't rocking with nobody else. He didn't have a little crew. He didn't have a group of little buddies. Every time we saw him, he was alone and happy. Robin season. Because of the pressures of society, being judged by peers that know nothing, sentenced a young man to death. Yes, it was a young man's choice, but being a little kid is hard. The kid tried to defend himself. He said, I don't ever wear bummy clothes. Ern always wears bummy clothes, whatever. Maybe this kid's family had money, whatever. But Ern denied it and denied it and denied it. And he was protecting himself. He was watching over himself, you know? And he still got it tough. He still got it hard from all those bullies. But he denied it. Yo, mine is real. Mine is real. What are you talking about? And his big cousin, Alfred, stepped right in. When Al said, that one's fake, that one's real, that was it. That was the deciding factor. And that boy got picked on really bad and committed suicide that night. It affected him so greatly that he couldn't deal with it anymore. But he also had some other stuff going on at home that nobody knew about. And that's why even as an adult, we have to watch what we say to each other. We don't know what the person next to us was just going through. So that's why we always need to speak life and positivity to each other. And they just hit that kid on the wrong day, saying his dad had just got it for him. He's going through stuff with his mom and dad. And I just guess he couldn't take it. And that absolutely breaks my heart. My son, here in Texas, middle school is 6th grade to 8th grade. But my son is now in middle school. And they wear uniforms. So all the 6th graders wear like a mustard yellow shirt. He's wearing the exact same thing as everybody every day. But then it comes down to the shoes, you know. He has to have the Nikes. He has to have the Under Armour hoodie, you know, all that. I know that we can all remember back to the pressure and obligation to have this type of shirt, to have your hair done this type of way, to have those shoes, you know. It is hard being a little kid. It's hard being a kid, period. But the pressures of trying to fit in and the pressures of trying to be like everybody else and to keep up with everybody else, you know. You go to your mom, you go to your dad, yo, can I get the new FUBU? Or I want these new shoes, or I want to get a gold chain, I want to get all that. But if your parents ain't got the money to do that for you, it's not your fault. It's not the kid's fault that the parents ain't got money. And some kids are broke and they're happy and they don't even notice it and they don't even care. I think those are the fortunate ones. But there are some kids that just feel that pressure and they want to fit in, keep up with the pressures of society, you know? It's hard. It was really interesting to see an all Ern episode though. I've been waiting for one, but the question is, what in this situation, how did it affect Ern today? How did what we saw happen? Like, there was a moment where Ern had ran and got on the bus, and he went to the back of the bus and he was looking out the window and he saw the boy getting hounded the whole way to the school bus. And there was like a look on Ern's face like, yo, I would tell them that yours is real, but I would be in your shoes. Sometimes you have to look out for yourself, but the ramifications suck sometimes. That poor kid, man. Like, in the comments down below, tell me what you would have did if you were in Ern's situation. You know, nobody would have suspected that it would be as severe as a suicide. You know? Stereotypically, that did not seem like the type of kid that would go home and take his own life, but you can't judge people by how they look. And we did not know what he was going through at home. And this is perfect. Like, this episode is powerful. This is something I feel like I could show my son, you know, and see if it was something he could relate to, or see what his feelings are on it, you know? Because again, at my son's school here in Texas, the school year is almost over, but 2 kids have committed suicide. They go to my kid's middle school. And we all got an email saying that a 7th grade student took their life, and if you have not talked to your child about suicide yet, that you should. The email was real, because basically the email was saying, yo, a kid committed suicide and it's going to be all over the school. So if you have not explained to your child what suicide is, those feelings, there's help out there, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, you need to do it now, because you don't want him to learn in the lunchroom, in the hallway, on the bus, in the locker room. It's scary, man. Another thing though, when I was in school, cell phones were not the norm. Even when I graduated from high school, only the really, really rich kids had cell phones, and they were the little Nokia with the snake on it. Tell me y'all remember. But there wasn't, I mean, we all had like AIM, like AOL Instant Messenger, whatever, that was it. But there was not a Facebook yet to go get on. There was no like, everybody went home to jump on the internet so we could talk to each other. There was a space, there was a separation between your life and school. But nowadays, these kids got phones with Facebook, with Instagram, with Snapchat, and I'm sure they are sitting in their classroom like, Stephanie must be in home ec, and Tony's in gym, you know, because they're posting pictures on their social media. But either way, there's Facebook where people post all that kind of stuff, and people will comment on the walls like, oh, you wore an ugly fake knockoff FUBU shirt to school today, and go in on them. And you can't escape the bullying. You can't escape the negativity, cyberbullying, you know? I actually just got LASIK. I just got laser eye surgery, and I wore I just got it in November. I wore very, very, very thick glasses. I had the Medicaid frames, you know? I could burn ants with my thick magnifying glasses. And I'm talking, go back in some of my YouTube videos. You will definitely see me with glasses. Basically, like, my eyes would look all small. You know, I have really, really bad eyes until I got LASIK. Hallelujah. But I was made fun of, and I was broke. And I wore baggy clothes. I didn't have this, I didn't have that, but it made me who I am today. And I thank God for who I am today. And I feel like I know how to appreciate things. I know how to, I'm grateful for the things that I get, because when something is really expensive, I know that it means a lot. I feel like I have a gratefulness for things that I maybe would not have had if everything that I wanted and desired to have in my childhood was thrown at me. It makes you more grateful for things, which is irrelevant and totally off subject for this episode, but it's where this is the reflection, this is the inner thought that Donald Glover gives me for this show, you know? Back on track. It's hard. That was back in the 90s. That this whole episode was mid-90s, but nowadays it's worse on kids, because it doesn't end when they get off the bus. It keeps going, because all they do is go home and jump online, and you're back in that same community of people, and it just continues. And they can put up memes, and they can put up GIFs, and they can type something. Everybody's bold behind a keyboard. People get hot at the mouth hot at the fingertips, you know? And little kids with that power and that accessibility is dangerous. It's a dangerous thing. It's crazy. And you just have to, as parents, we just have to encourage our children. We have to lift them up. We have to make sure they are confident in themselves. I feel like bullying for some kids, unfortunately, is inevitable, but you have to teach your kids how to let it roll off their shoulders, you know, in one ear and out the other. And you have to instill that strength in them. You have to instill that strength in them, as I feel like it's something that everybody is exposed to, or everybody has to endure at one time or others in their life. What else did we see tonight? We saw that Ern had a really good friend that was, it was just a simple view. He was like, man, these guys are after me because the shirt is fake. I don't know. I don't think it's fake. And he was defending himself, even behind closed doors of the situation at hand, to his buddy. He was still, you know, very in denial that his shirt was fake. And honestly, I don't think he knew. Because like I said, he was like, what? They make real ones and they make fake ones? Who does that? It's just a shirt, right? That kid, it was so simple. And it was like, right. When he said it, he was like, I've worn this shirt twice this week and nobody's even noticed. Drops mic. Like, come on. Why? Adolescence is such a pivotal time in your coming up. You know what I mean? And it just sucks that it has to be made so hard by the other people going through it. Like, why are you acting out and hurting other people? I don't get it. Well, I was a bullied little girl, so I empathize with this one. I really did. But just being a kid is hard enough, man. That's my feels. No, okay. What did we see in Ern and in Al tonight helped us look in on who they are as people? I think that with Ern, we definitely, I was talking about this earlier and didn't finish the thought, but we definitely saw compassion on Ern's side tonight, because there were a few times where he looked back at the other kid and he saw that the kid was, one time the kid was looking at him like, haha, I knew they'd know the truth. I knew they'd figure out the truth, that yours is fake and mine's not. He turned around, the little kid was just like at his desk, just looking right at Ern. There were other times where the other boy was getting picked on because of the shirt situation, that he felt bad because maybe he did know in the back of his mind that his was a fake one, because he saw the thread coming out, you know, but he didn't do anything about it because that would have been him if he didn't. He was looking out for himself. Even though it was screwing somebody else, he was looking out for himself. Hold on to that thought, bring it to today. So maybe Ern is so desperate for a little bit of money that he, and not out of spite, but he wants any income he can get, anything that he can get. So he's putting the least bit of work in as possible, unfortunately, for Al, so he can get a little piece of change. You feel me? So he probably felt guilty that he wasn't completely doing right by Alfred, managing him the right way, promoting him, getting his name out more, doing this, doing that, appearances, getting him money, sponsorships, commercials, soundtracks, all that. Not because he was lazy, but because he was satisfied at average, at mediocre. And what did Al say? My next step is going to be my best step. So he should have been, Ern should have been shooting for the stars, and he was just grabbing whatever he could grab. And unfortunately, that affected him in his relationship with his cousin that he grew up with, and he definitely just lost out on a huge chunk of income. And he ain't got no laptop no more. Oh, so the next episode is a finale, so we definitely should see the gold gun come back into play that his Uncle Willie gave him, right? We definitely should see that gun come back into play. I don't want a gun to come back into play for anything, but it would be interesting for it to come back. I'm so upset that next week is the last episode. It really, really makes me angry. This should go on forever and ever and ever. But I'm really, really excited to see it. And if you guys enjoyed this discussion, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. and I'll see you on the next one.